The dining room was packed, 40 guests mingling, eating appetizers, drinking wine. Mom's annual spring party. I was standing near the buffet when she clinked her glass. Everyone turned to listen. "Before dinner, I want to share something hilarious," she said, gesturing toward me with her wine glass. "My daughter went to another doctor this week. That's 3 new specialists this month." Polite laughter from the guests. "Such a hypochondriac," Mom continued. "Always something wrong. The doctors never find anything because there's nothing to find." The laughter grew louder. My aunt nodded. Several of Mom's friends exchanged glances. "Last month it was fatigue. This month it's joint pain. Next month, who knows?" Mom paused. "Maybe she'll discover some rare disease from her trip to the grocery store." The room roared with laughter. I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. I pulled it out while Mom continued her routine about my supposed medical dramatics. The notification was from my insurance company's app. Prior authorization request pending review for Julia Thompson. Patient relationship, dependent. I opened the full notification. Oncology services. Chemotherapy treatment protocol. Estimated cost, $84,000 for the first round. Authorization required from policyholder. Mom needed cancer treatment, and she needed my approval to get it covered by insurance. I looked up. She was still talking. Something about how I'd missed Christmas last year because of a mysterious illness that cleared up right after the holidays. "Funny timing," I said, my voice cutting through the laughter. The room went quiet. Everyone turned to look at me. "Your cancer treatment authorization just came through," I continued. "It needs my signature, as the primary policyholder." Mom's face went white. The guests looked confused, then uncomfortable. "We'll discuss this later," Mom said quickly. "Sure. After you finish telling everyone how I make up illnesses for attention." I picked up my purse. "Enjoy the party." I walked out. The phone call started within an hour. My father called first. "You can't just announce your mother's medical information like that." She wanted to keep it private. "She was announcing my medical information," I said, "to 40 people, calling me a hypochondriac while I actually have autoimmune arthritis. But her cancer is private." "That's different. She's actually sick." "So am I, Dad. I have documentation, diagnoses, medication." "But she spent 5 years telling everyone I'm faking." "Just approve the insurance authorization. Don't make this difficult." "I'll think about it." I hung up. The backstory was complicated. I graduated college and started working at a tech company with excellent benefits. At 23, I had comprehensive health insurance. Mom lost her job that same year, downsized at 54. Dad's insurance had high deductibles and poor coverage. I added her as a dependent on my policy. My company's plan allowed it. I was helping my mother. That was 7 years ago. In those 7 years, I developed autoimmune arthritis, joint pain, fatigue, inflammation. I finally got diagnosed at 26, started treatment, learned to manage a chronic condition. And through all of it, Mom told everyone I was a hypochondriac, that I was dramatic, that doctors were humoring me. She said these things while using my insurance, while I paid the premiums, while I covered her because she couldn't afford her own coverage. I'd offered to show her my medical records. She refused. "I don't need paperwork to know my own daughter," she said. Now she had cancer, stage 2 breast cancer, treatable. Good prognosis with proper treatment, but expensive, easily $200,000 over the course of treatment. Without insurance, it would bankrupt her. With my insurance, the out-of-pocket maximum was $8,000. All she needed was my signature. My sister called next. "Mom's crying. She's terrified about the cancer, and now she's terrified you won't approve the treatment." She called me a hypochondriac in front of 40 people, while I actually have a diagnosed medical condition. But that was before she knew. Before she knew what? That I was telling the truth? She's had my diagnosis for 3 years. She's chosen not to believe it. This is life or death. You can't play games with her cancer treatment. I'm not playing games. I'm thinking about whether I want to continue providing insurance coverage to someone who publicly mocks my illness. "You're being cruel." "She's been cruel for 5 years. I'm being thoughtful." I ended the call. That evening, I reviewed my insurance policy documents, read through the dependent coverage terms, looked at the authorization requirements for major treatments. As the primary policyholder, I had to approve any treatment over $50,000 for dependents. It was a cost control measure by the insurance company. For my own treatments, I could authorize automatically. For dependents, I had review and approval rights. I'd never paid attention to this clause before, never needed to. I also reviewed the process for removing a dependent from coverage. 60 days notice required, or immediate removal in cases of divorce, the dependent gaining other coverage, or no longer meeting eligibility requirements. Mom still met the eligibility requirements. She was my parent, under 65, with no other available coverage. I had the power to keep her on my insurance or remove her. I had the power to approve her treatment authorizations or deny them. For 5 years, I'd had autoimmune arthritis. I'd been in pain, exhausted, struggling to work through flares. Using the same insurance policy to see specialists, get treatments, manage my condition. And Mom had called me a hypochondriac, had made jokes at parties, had rolled her eyes when I canceled plans due to pain, had told extended family I was overdramatic. My phone rang again. Mom, this time, I answered. Please, she said, no preamble. Please approve the authorization. I'm scared. The oncologist wants to start treatment next week. Every delay reduces the effectiveness. When did you find out about the cancer? 6 weeks ago. I had the biopsy a month ago. Got the diagnosis 3 weeks ago. And you didn't tell me? I was processing it. I wasn't ready to tell the family yet. But you were ready to call me a hypochondriac at your party while you were dealing with a cancer diagnosis? Silence. Mom, I have autoimmune arthritis. It's documented by 3 different rheumatologists. I have elevated inflammatory markers, positive antibody tests, and visible joint damage on scans. I'm on immunosuppressant medication. This isn't in my head. I know. Do you? Because you just told 40 people I make up illnesses. You called me a hypochondriac. I was nervous. I was trying to seem normal, to have a normal party, while dealing with a cancer diagnosis. I wasn't thinking. You weren't thinking about me, about my actual medical condition, about the fact that I was standing there with a real illness while you mocked me for faking. I'm sorry. Are you sorry, or do you need my insurance approval? Both. Please. I'll apologize publicly if you want. I'll tell everyone I was wrong. Just please approve the treatment. I'll think about it, I said, and hung up. I spent 2 days thinking about it. I read articles about cancer treatment delays, researched breast cancer prognosis, looked at survival rates with and without proper treatment. I also read articles about chronic illness and family support, about medical gaslighting and the psychological impact of having your illness dismissed by the people who should believe you most. My father showed up at my apartment on the 3rd day. The doorman called up. Let him come up, I said. Dad looked exhausted. Your mother is having panic attacks. She's convinced she's going to die. The treatment hasn't been denied. I just haven't approved it yet. The oncologist says every day matters. Then maybe she should have thought about that before calling me a hypochondriac while using my insurance. You're really going to let her die over some comments? They weren't just comments, Dad. For 5 years, every time I was too sick to attend a family event, she told people I was lying. She made me doubt my own reality. She didn't understand. She didn't try to understand. I offered to share my medical records. She refused. She decided I was faking. But this is different. This is cancer. It's different because you all believe her. When I said I was sick, you didn't believe me. Dad sat down. What do you want? I want acknowledgement. I want her to admit publicly that I have a real medical condition, that she was wrong. And if she does that, you'll approve the treatment? I'll consider it. Consider it? Her life is at stake. My quality of life has been at stake for 5 years, but that didn't matter to any of you. Dad left looking defeated. That evening, I received an email from Mom. I'm writing this because I need you to understand what I'm asking for. I have stage 2 breast cancer, triple negative, which is more aggressive. The oncologist wants to start chemotherapy immediately, followed by surgery, then radiation. The treatment plan is intensive and has significant side effects, but it offers an 85% 5-year survival rate. Without treatment, the survival rate drops to 30% at 5 years. I need your approval for the insurance authorization. I know I've hurt you. I know I didn't believe you about your illness. I was wrong. But I'm begging you not to let your anger at me prevent you from approving a treatment that could save my life. Please? I read the email 3 times. Then I drafted a response. Mom, you say you know you hurt me, but I don't think you understand the depth of it. For 5 years, I've been in pain, real, documented, medically confirmed pain. I've had days where I couldn't open jars or button my shirt because my fingers hurt so badly. I've had weeks where I was exhausted beyond anything I'd ever felt before. I've had to learn to manage a chronic illness that will never go away. And through all of that, you told people I was faking. You made jokes. You rolled your eyes. You made me feel like I was crazy. When I was diagnosed and showed you the medical records, you said doctors were too quick to diagnose things these days. When I explained my medication, you said pharmaceuticals were a scam. When I missed family events due to flares, you told people I was being dramatic. At your party 3 days ago, you called me a hypochondriac in front of 40 people. You made my illness entertainment. You laughed about it. You did this while enrolled as a dependent on my insurance policy, while I paid the premiums that cover you, while using the same insurance system I use for my treatments. Now you have cancer. You need treatment. You need insurance approval. And suddenly, medical conditions are real. Suddenly, illness is serious. Suddenly, doctors are trustworthy. The difference is that people believe you. I'm going to approve your treatment authorization, not because you deserve my help, but because I'm not willing to let someone die, even if they've been cruel to me. But I'm also removing you from my insurance policy effective 60 days from now. That gives you 2 months to find alternative coverage, dad's insurance, a marketplace plan, whatever you can afford. Your cancer treatment will be covered through this initial authorization and any follow-up treatments within the 60-day window. After that, you're on your own. And I want you to send an email to everyone who was at that party explaining that I have a real medical condition, that you were wrong to call me a hypochondriac, that you apologize for dismissing my illness. If you don't send that email within 1 week, I'll reverse my approval of the authorization and accelerate your removal from my policy. Those are my terms. I sent the email, then logged into my insurance portal and approved the oncology authorization. Mom's chemotherapy was scheduled to begin in 5 days. Then I submitted the dependent removal form, effective date, 60 days from today. Mom's response came within an hour. Thank you. I'll send the email tomorrow. The email went out the next day to everyone on her party list. I need to apologize for something I said at my recent party. I called my daughter a hypochondriac and made jokes about her medical conditions. I was completely wrong. My daughter has autoimmune arthritis, a serious chronic condition. She's been diagnosed by multiple specialists and managing this for 5 years. I didn't believe her. I dismissed her symptoms. I mocked her illness. I was wrong, and I'm sorry. She's shown me more grace than I deserve by approving my cancer treatment through her insurance. I'm grateful and ashamed that it took my own illness to make me understand. Mom started chemotherapy the following week. I didn't visit, didn't call, sent 1 text. Hope treatment goes well. 60 days after I submitted the removal form, Mom's coverage on my policy ended. Dad had scrambled to get her on his insurance, upgrading his plan despite the cost. Her treatment would continue, but on their dime now. 2 months later, I got a handwritten letter from her. The surgery went well. They got clear margins. The prognosis is good. I'm starting radiation next month. I wanted to thank you for approving the initial treatment. It saved my life, literally. I also wanted you to know that I understand why you removed me from your insurance. I don't blame you. I used your generosity while treating you terribly. I hope someday you can forgive me. But I understand if you can't. I'm learning what it's like to be sick, to be scared, to need help. I'm learning that I should have listened when you tried to tell me. I'm sorry it took my own illness to teach me that lesson. I kept the letter but didn't respond. My arthritis is still here, still managed with medication, still causing pain on bad days. The difference is, I've built a support network of people who believe me, friends who understand when I need to cancel plans, a support group for people with chronic illness, a therapist who specializes in medical trauma. I don't need my mother's validation anymore, but it would have meant something if she'd offered it 5 years ago. Sometimes people only understand pain when they experience it themselves. Sometimes that understanding comes too late to repair the damage they've caused. I saved her life by approving her treatment, but I saved my own life by removing her from my insurance and from my daily existence. Both decisions were necessary. Only one of them made me feel guilty. I'm learning to live with that.